My name is Rachel Mason. I am one of the Associate Directors of First Year Recruitment and Enrollment here at UMass Amherst. I am also an unapologetically enthusiastic UMass alum. So I'm really excited to be able to welcome you all here today as we jump into this family-to-family panel as part of our admitted student events, which really leads me to the most important thing I think I get to say today, or is the funnest part, is congratulations. Congratulations on your students' acceptance to UMass Amherst. This is an amazing accomplishment, not only for your students, but also for you yourselves, to have seen your students come through so much and to be accepted in what has been our most competitive admission cycle ever. So I hope you're able to take a minute and just really enjoy that accomplishment. We are incredibly impressed with your students and really proud to consider that they would be enrolling in the fall and being part of the UMass family. Before we begin, couple of little housekeeping, can't go by without that. First, we are recording this session for those who were not able to attend, to be able to view, but also yourselves. We're going to go over a lot of information, and perhaps there's some that you would like to revisit or share with your students or other family members. Also today, you will be able to post questions in our Q&A. We will do our best to answer them individually during the course of the panel, whether that be live or through the chat itself. But I really want to emphasize that this is not a small window, but really a start of a conversation. So anything that we're not able to answer today, I encourage you to contact us. We'll be happy to jump right on into that and answer those questions. Also, we know that more questions will come up as well. We want to make sure that you have all the information you need and your student needs to make a decision and feel confident in their choice, which of course we hope will be to enroll at UMass Amherst. Luckily, I am not the only one here to share some of my insights, but I have an amazing panelist, a set of panelists who have joined us, both parents of students, as well as some of our current students as well, to answer questions for you. So I'm really excited to jump right on in. And actually, before I do that, I apologize. There was one thing I really want to do is I want to launch some polls. I want to find out some more about you before you learn more about us. And so the first poll that I have here is a question about where you all live. Are you here in Massachusetts? Are you somewhere else in the United States? That poll should pop up for you to answer. Let us know. Perhaps we have some international families in the mix as well, because you got lots of folks here answering questions. So where are people living? Well, certainly we've got in-state folks as well. I wonder where in the United States you are living, or sorry, in Massachusetts. Are you West Coast, Western Massachusetts? Are you Eastern? Are you here on the Cape, perhaps? Looks like we've got a good mix of in and out of state attendees. Fantastic. And that really is what we're seeing at UMass. We're seeing an increased number of applications and students from outside of Massachusetts as well. And of course, we're so excited to welcome our international students. So how excited are your students to be accepted to UMass Amherst? Looks like a good chunk are very excited. I like that. This is their decision, as it should be. They're allowed to be excited too. But either way, it is absolutely an accomplishment to have been accepted in this competitive year. It's always interesting for me, going out there and promoting and talking about UMass to learn what students are most excited about, and whether that be that we are a top-ranked university. We're number 26 public university in the United States, which is amazing, and we're really very proud of it. If it's the faculty, our faculty are not only amazing instructors, but they are accomplished researchers who are recognized the world over. I mean that quite literally. We have many faculty that are ranked in the top 100 researchers cited by other researchers. I think that we should, of course, can't overlook the value of an in-state education, or even for our out-of-state students, it's incredibly yeah, effective, and the outcomes are amazing. Okay, my personal favorite is the number one dining. We're all, it's a big thing. It's important. It's true, and it's just a great piece. Well, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that we were able to get to know you all a little bit. And so now it is my pleasure to share with you and to introduce you to our panelists. You can learn a bit about them. Amy, would you like to kick it off for us in terms of saying hello?
I absolutely would. Thank you so much, Rachel, and welcome everybody, and congratulations. My son is Killian Smith. He is a senior at the Eisenberg School of Management, majoring in finance and management. And he has had a most amazing experience. He's been involved in many things, academic related, like the finance club, but he's also a kid who does every sport that's out there. You'll find him at Flag Football Club. He played rugby, friends on the football team, out shooting hoops. And UMass affords him a lot of opportunity to do that. In fact, he's had such a good experience. I talked to him the other day about commencement. He said, I don't want to talk about that. So I think he'd stay there longer if he could.
That is great to know. We would love for him to stay. There are opportunities for master's degrees, of course. Well, thank you so much, Amy. Iktasha, could you please share with us your name, your connection to UMass and your students?
Sure. Hi, my name is Atiksha Goyal. My son is a junior in chemical engineering. UMass has been great. We are in state and has been a great university for him. It provides him good balance of being a little bit close to home so he can have home cooked food, but as well as, enjoy his time on campus. Some of the things he's really enjoyed is being part of AICE and being, currently he's a SI. His sophomore year, he was TA, and that kind of has helped him build his group. He is a bit introvert. And overall, he's just really enjoying his time, and he's looking forward to the various opportunities. He's been part of the research labs, and he is quite excited that he's got into an RU. So he has really enjoyed his time and continues to enjoy his time, and he is motivating his younger sister, who's gotten accepted into UMass. And so he's telling her how great it would be to have her start next year. But of course, it's her choice, and she's evaluating her choices. And so it's a great university, and he can't be, he's very happy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, congratulations on your daughter's acceptance. That's fantastic. And it is so important to hear and to know that even in a large university, your son was able to find his community people. That is something that we're incredibly proud of. That's fantastic. Well, Penny, I would love to call on you next to introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm Penny Nichols, and my son James graduated class of 2021, and the Honors College, as well as the College of Humanities and Fine Arts and the College of Social Behaviors. So he double majored in English and social thought and political economy, and a minor in education. And he did continue with the master's in education with the 180-day program in Springfield, which is a very intense program. In 1 year, you teach for the full year, and you're also going for your master's in that full year. But he was all in with UMass during his time there, very involved with the diversity of opportunities and the support services, from well-being, from the theater, from the student government, from peer mentoring, from job opportunities with Upward Bound, the opportunity to be involved with community services. And of course, the number one UMass dining did definitely expand his palate.
That is so good to know. That'll be my new slogan when I'm out on the road. We're not only expanding your education horizons, but also your palate.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Penny. I appreciate it. And Kathleen, please introduce yourself.
Hi, welcome everyone, and congratulations to your students. My son started in biology in biotap, which actually was a fabulous experience for him, and he's still friends with the kids that he met in biotap. A year later, he decided to go into engineering, and he received his degree in chemical engineering and the Honors College in 2018, and proceeded to go work at Moderna, where he was part of the team that that created the vaccine. So we're very proud of that. He is actually now coming back to UMass again in the fall. He misses it so much that he has always wanted to try his hands in finance. So he's coming back to pursue a degree in mathematics and economics and statistics. So we're going to be starting all over again, and I'm happy about it.
No, it's a wonderful place to explore your interests as well as discover new ones, right?
Yes.
And just to build on it too, because it all goes together. And what an accomplishment working for Moderna. I love when you say the vaccine, and we all know exactly which one you're referencing. Well, in terms of our parent panelists, last but not least, Wayne, would you please introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you, Rachel. My name is Wayne Goldstein. I have a son, Eli, who's a senior and graduating in a couple of months. And I just want to wish you all a huge congratulations on this milestone. It's not easy to get into UMass these days. And the fact that your child did, or those of you watching did, it's really quite an accomplishment. So congratulations to all of you. My son is a sports management major at the Eisenberg School. And he's really had the experience that we hope to get. We came from a small private school in Eastern Massachusetts, and he came to a huge school in middle of Massachusetts. And we weren't sure how it's all going to work out for him, but he has taken advantage of all UMass has to offer. The food, of course, but many other things besides that, including, internships that he's had, that he had with a company called Wasserman. Different classes, a lot of expansion of classes. He's involved in activities and sports and things like that, sports management groups as well. And he also was abroad in Florence for a semester. And so our son was Eli was really able to experience what a big school has to offer, and at the same time making it small for him, which, as you all see, is a very important part of this whole process. That it's a big place, but you gotta make it into your own, figure out who your peoples are, and then sort of make it into your own little community, which I'm sure everybody will, which our son was able to do. So it's been just a wonderful experience in school for him, and hope it's the same for all of you.
Absolutely. And were you able to visit Florence when he was there?
Oh, Rachel, that's no doubt about that. Yes. One of our sons was in Amsterdam at different college, and he was in Florence, and we made sure to visit both of them.
Fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. A little opportunity to bond. Thank you so much to our parent panelists. I'd like to now turn to our two students who have taken time out of their Sunday to join us, both Divya and Silas. Divya, you're going to actually continue to participate in our Q&A in a moment here. Please tell me a little bit about yourself and your experience here at UMass.
Of course. Thank you so much, Rachel. So I am currently a sophomore here at UMass Amherst, like I said, class of 25. I'm currently pursuing a double major in both microbiology and human pathophysiology. It's kind of a mouthful, through the BDIC program, or bachelor's degree in an individualized concentration. that's one of the really cool opportunities that we do have here at UMass. The BDIC program, it's not something that most universities have. It's essentially just kind of like a fancy way of saying the make your own major program that we have to offer here. And it really gives students the opportunity to make sure they're learning exactly what they want to be learning. So I have the opportunity through this program to kind of combine classes from the biology department, kinesiology department, nursing, microbiology, and just kind of like really like hone my curriculum into what I'm interested in, which I think is a really cool opportunity that not a lot of people get. So I'm very grateful to have that opportunity. Yeah, besides academics, of course, I do act as a tour guide here on campus. That's probably my favorite job here on campus, definitely the best job you could have once you get here. But besides that, I also work for the LRC, as I think Atiksha mentioned. Her son also works for the LRC as a supplemental instructor, or SI, for Bio 151, which is introductory biology. Basically, I just run like biweekly sessions, like tutoring sessions almost, to help students who are taking that class. Other than that, I'm a member of the UMass Pre-Med Society. I act as junior events coordinator. And I'm also a member of UMass SASA, South Asian Students Association, to kind of like keep in touch with my culture, heritage while I'm here on campus. And finally, I also dance on UMass Jazba, which is our Bollywood Bhangra fusion dance team here on campus. So really at UMass, I get a lot of chances to kind of make sure I focus on every part of myself and everything I love to do here. So I definitely am really appreciating my time here.
I'm exhausted just listening to your schedule. And just to clarify, what does LRC stand for?
Yes, so the LRC is the Learning Resource Center. It's located on the 10th floor of the library. It basically is just kind of the big tutoring hub on campus. We offer one-on-one tutoring, group tutoring, and then also like class-based exam reviews and discussions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Silas, I know you're going to go and be behind the scenes answering the Q&A that comes up, questions for individuals, but please take this moment to tell us all that you are doing.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. So I'm a freshman here at UMass in my second semester. So I've only had one full semester on campus, but so far I'm loving it. I've gotten involved with a number of different organizations, such as Crew, which is one of our religious organizations on campus, which meets once a week and does worships and prayers. Helps me stay in touch with my religion while I'm at such a big college. I also am a member of our radio station, WMUA, and I host a show every Tuesday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. And I play soul music that I love from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and talk about it, give a little background on artists and songs, sometimes tell a little bit of stories behind some of the music I'm playing. And then I'm a member of our Outings Club, which does trips to mountains for hiking. They'll go on skiing trips, rafting trips, surfing trips occasionally. So lots of fun ways to get outdoors, stay involved with nature, stay active. Additionally, I'm a member of the club tennis team. So when the weather's nice, we play on the outdoor courts here, practice once a week, sometimes twice a week, and then we'll have matches on the weekends occasionally. And then I play pretty much any intramural sport you can think of. My friends are always asking me to join their teams, and I don't think I've said no yet. So far I've been a member of soccer, basketball, two-ball soccer, volleyball, and baseball. And then I did a tournament for ping pong. So lots of ways to stay involved and active here on campus. And I'm super thankful for all the opportunities that I've gotten so far.
Absolutely. And I think our outing club is actually one of the most popular clubs on campus. And I have to say, as a California native, I was a little surprised to find out we had a surf club as well, but there is a surfing club and they do find waves. So anything you can imagine is certainly available. Thank you so much, Silas. I appreciate it. Well, now this is the part that I really enjoy is I get to ask everyone questions about their experiences and their students' experiences here at the university. And I'm going to start off by asking about, based on your experience, why would you advise any student or family member to choose UMass? Amy, could you go ahead and kick us off with that question?
Sure. Thank you, Rachel. As you think about this, and I know it's a big decision, UMass really has it all. I think of it as big yet small. It's big, the breadth, you can go deep, you can go wide, academics and all these activities you heard, but it's small in the sense that there are communities there. And we come from Milton, Mass, right outside Boston. Killian came from a pretty big high school, and right away he connected with folks. And then again, as he sort of branched out, the school really sort of wrapped its arms around him. So again, I know it's a huge place, but he's had a lot of fun, right? You know, able to go snowboarding, do all these things with his friends. And then at the same time, really learn fabulous internships. He made the dean's list every semester except this one. So I'll blame that on Cancun, which he just got back from. And I feel he's really, really prepared, not just because he can go get a great, you know, start a career, because who he is as a person and a young man. So I have been just really pleased. And I work in higher education. I've done it for 30 years. I work for a big school in Boston, and he could have gone there tuition free, and he chose UMass. And I'm really happy he did.
Oh, fantastic. That's so good to hear. Iktasha, could you please add your thoughts?
Sure. I mean, as I previously mentioned, our son is a bit introvert and he likes, you know, so one of my biggest concern was that, you know, will he find his people and will he, but UMass kind of gave him those opportunities where he did find his niche and his people in his major, which led for him to be very happy, successful. I mean, he's doing very well academically, but socially as well, which was mainly my concern as a parent, that, you know, will he be able to adjust, especially living first time out of the house and all of that. But UMass has kind of made things easy for him and to find his people, right, with various different activities that initially the first few months that they do, you know, I don't remember all the activities he kind of attended, but I used to have regular call and he's like, oh, I went to this thing or I went to that thing and I learned about this or that and I'm interested in this. So it kind of helped him, you know, find out the breadth of activities and clubs and social things that are available, as well as academic wise. And I mean, all of a sudden he's like, oh, I loved to be part of this organization or that. And it has really expanded his horizon. And I'm happy he's happy. That what more do you want, right?
Right. As a parent, we worry about that. They're
Exactly.
leaving the house.
Right.
How is this going to go? You want them to succeed and feel safe and feel comfortable. And that's so important. It's great to hear about. Thank you so much. And Penny, how would you like to add? What was your experience? Why would you recommend UMass?
Well, I agree with everything that Amy has said and that you've said, but there's one other aspect. You know, there's the learning. You tend to think of learning as, you know, in the classroom, but it's also the experimental learning that happens outside of the classroom. It's a period of growth, if you will, and there's that opportunity, you know, to identify things that you may not have thought you'd be interested in. I mentioned the theater, et cetera. But the other aspect, and this was one of the reasons why he chose to go to UMass Amherst, is because a colleague of mine had a conversation with him and told him that he had gone there and really felt if you connected your professors, a lot of people don't take advantage of connecting with your professors and your advisors. You know, they're not going to reach out to you. You can develop your relationships with them and they will be there for you. And, you know, that's a good talent to develop for the real world and get you interested in different things and find out about different things. So he really developed a lot of relationships. And in the course of developing a lot of those relationships, helped his peers with developing those relationships, which is why he became a peer mentor at one point. You know, so the experimental learning opportunities outside of the classroom that was available to him at UMass Amherst was one of the real golden nuggets, if you will, that I felt he experimented at UMass Amherst.
No, absolutely. That's so important. It's the entire experience that that we need to focus on. Kathleen, what are your thoughts? Oh, I think you're on mute.
There I am.
There you are. All been there.
Also, I'll start by saying that I have a neurodivergent son who was never expected to he was never expected to exceed above remedial classes.
Mhm.
And this is what we were told for years and years and years. And he's a very hard worker and proved everyone wrong in middle school and high school, and then got to UMass. And what we were just so impressed with were the resources for him and the support for him. The disability services is absolutely amazing. The Office of Parent Services is absolutely amazing. If we had questions, we worked to have him advocate for himself. We refused to do everything for him. You know, I think I work in a middle school, and you know, it's a different clientele, but parents really want to take care of everything for their kids, which can be a disservice sometimes. So we taught him to advocate for himself, but sometimes we needed help. And that's when we would refer to the, you know, Office of Parent Services. But the resources, the workshops, the groups, mental health services, everything that the school offers is just, it's amazing. And he flourished. He absolutely flourished. Graduated with honors, and I want to cry because
The pride in your voice is there.
and maybe that's why I still volunteer after all these years for UMass, because I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
You know, so grateful.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's, as a dyslexic adult and student, I really appreciate how important it is to feel accepted, but more than accepted, right? You need to also have the supports to be
Support.
successful. It's great that you love me for who I am, but can you help me reach my goals?
Yep.
And in all aspects of one's life, which is so very, very important.
Yep.
Well, Wayne, I don't know how you're going to follow that up, but I
God,
want you
I'm
to
really in
try.
trouble here. Well, I could tell a quick story about my son Eli, who I said is graduating his freshman year. He talking about services the school offers. He tore his ACL his third day of school playing pickup basketball. And you know, like I mentioned before, he came from a small school, and we weren't sure how he was going to be able to navigate through all of this, getting to class. You know, he had to have surgery, the whole deal in December, but the whole up until that time. And the school was just incredibly supportive. And God forbid your child has to go to health services, but they do. It's a wonderful, they're fantastic in there. And I can speak from experience, and so can my son, and mental health as well. I know, which I know is very important these days too. As his physical health. And I just was really impressed. And, you know, and he got to know the bus drivers that drove him around because he couldn't walk. You know, he got to know, obviously, the medical professionals. Professors were able, he's, you know, had to meet with professors if he missed time because of PT or whatever. And he really made, like I said earlier, made it small and made it sort of a place where he felt comfortable and people took care of him. And you just wouldn't necessarily expect that, and including in his dorm, including his own classmates. He lived in Gorman Hall his freshman year, and it was I don't know if it's a freshman dorm, but it was a lovely community that they had there, and right in the middle of campus, and they became their own small little group that took care of him and watched over him. So I just, you know, if your child comes from a smaller school, you don't have to, you know, it may be a little challenging at first, but there's a way. If your child has has that impetus to get out there a little bit and make his or her own community, it's a place you can do that. So also, Kathleen, we are grateful just like you. So thank you.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you all to the parents. Divya, though, why don't you wrap us up here? As a current student, why would you encourage someone to consider UMass Amherst?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think personally for me, the biggest thing is just like the fact that you really can make UMass what you want of it. I know one thing I always say on my tours is that you can make a big school feel small, but you can't really make a small school feel big. And I know personally, when I was going through the college application process, I was kind of leaning a little more towards like a smaller school, because I'm from central Massachusetts, Shrewsbury, near the Worcester area. And I came from a relatively bigger high school, and I was like, okay, you know, going to a school, it's like a little bit bigger than my high school, kind of just like staying in a small area might be nice. And then as soon as I came to UMass, I was like, oh my God, why did I ever want to go to a school that was smaller than 23,000 students? Because being at such a big school really allows you to kind of like compartmentalize your life and really make it what you want. I know for me, I kind of have a lot of different like niches in this environment almost. And that really allows me to kind of like honestly just live my best life and really kind of take advantage of individual parts of my personality that I didn't really know I had. I didn't know I was a dancer before I came to UMass. I didn't know I was good at public speaking before I came to UMass. And I didn't know I had certain academic interests before I came to UMass. I came in as a psychology major. And because we have so many different advising systems and so many different opportunities to really get to know what you want to do, I was able to kind of explore a few majors before finally settling on microbiology and the BDIC program. And I was really able to kind of take a lot of classes and decide like, oh, maybe psychology isn't what I want to do. Maybe I only decide on psychology because my sister does psychology. And then really decide that while I wanted to be in STEM, maybe there were a couple different areas I wanted. So kind of taking advantage of the big resources at such a big school, I think is probably the best part of coming to UMass. And I think that kind of makes it like a hands down decision because there's not a lot of schools where you can get access to so many resources in such like a small area.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear. You know, and think of UMass as almost like a city, but it has its little neighborhoods and connections and clubs.
Exactly.
And you develop your routines too. You know where you're going to eat. You know, I guess we do talk a lot about eating.
That's true.
Not
It's
sorry.
important part.
It's important, but it's not, actually it's a reflection of community, and it's a reflection of the fact too that we are the #1 agricultural program in the United States. And no surprise, when you make your food from scratch, locally sourced, it's gonna taste good. And we're very, very proud of that. But it's that you're able to find your neighborhood, your niche, your place to get your coffee or your bubble tea, your place to go work out, your place to go get your supports and to unwind as well. And it's amazing how the residence halls turn into individual communities that are supporting one another. Well, thank you all so much for those answers. But I want to kind of build on this and talk about kind of the general experience that your students have had at UMass. Amy, do you want to jump in with that one?
Sure. Thank you, Rachel. One thing I want to talk about that you may not be aware of that Killian did when he was a freshman, it's called a residential academic program. It goes by the acronym RAP, and everything is an acronym at UMass. And so what it is, before you start, this is a class that you have in your residence hall. And they're all over campus, and they're different topics, and they can relate to your major or not. And he really wanted to live in Southwest. This is one of the reasons. And he signed up for a course and he loved it. It was like he didn't have to traipse across campus. He could just go down in his PJs. But what was really best about it, because of that intimate setting, he really got to know the professor. When you're a freshman, right? My kid would never go talk to the teachers. It really gave him confidence to connect in that way. So that was great. Another thing, and this falls under the Office of Disability, Killian has a really severe life-threatening allergy to peanuts. And so you can imagine as a mom, he's going away for the first time. He's got a good head on his shoulders, but college, right? Craziness. But that office was so good at UMass. The food is fabulous, but everything is on an app. He can look up every day for anything at any hall and see what the allergens are, and it's all labeled. And again, obviously he's had no issues in 4 years. But another experience, which was not such a fun issue, when he was a freshman, he got caught with a beer in the dorm, was not happy. Those mean old RAs, they said that's why they're there. But I'll tell you, working with the Office of Parent Services then and with the Dean of Students was terrific, right? He wised up after that. And it was an experience, I think, not every kid is going to do that, right? And maybe he was just, testing a little bit, but I was really pleased with how the school handled it. As I said, he loves it. He's made friends from all over. A bunch of kids he knew from high school went there, but he's really expanded. As he looks for a job now, he's got a couple offers. He's really thinking about what to do from his internships. So as I said, I feel he's prepared. And, as Tisha said, you want your kid to be happy at the end of the day. He just is happy. And, I would love when I call him or text him sometimes, he'd say, I'm in the library studying. I was like, yay. At the same time, I know they're doing a ton of fun stuff, and he's socially, I think, really ready to take that next step into his career.
Fantastic. And Tisha, it seems like it's been handed off to you. Amy naturally did it there. So what are your thoughts on an overall experience?
So overall, one of the things when my son chose to go to UMass, I was totally unaware of was the amount of research opportunities that the students get. like, the professors and his advisors kind of just guided him and made him aware. And he's like, he was part of one research unit last year, and he's like, oh no, I'm gonna change. The professor was so supportive. Now he's doing another research and joined another professor for research. And that has, I mean, I was kind of saying, you should think about internship. And he's like, oh no, I'm going to apply for the research program. And now he's going to go for an RU in summer. So some of the opportunities that the university has that, like, as a parent, I totally didn't know. And my son is educating me that, no, this is what I'm going to do. And he has that support of the professors, of the research grad students, and he has kind of built his own network of mentor and resources where he's guiding his own path. And I'm like, okay, I'm just there listening. And I'm like, okay, great, good job, type of thing. So those opportunities that are there at UMass Amherst, I totally didn't know. And those were some of the, those hidden gems of UMass Amherst, honestly. As a parent, I feel like, oh, wow, type of thing. So he has thoroughly thrived and reached, I mean, and I can just see that, the future is going to be bright for him just because of the opportunity that the university provides him.
Absolutely. And it's just connections, and that's caring that happens.
Right.
Whether it be faculty, but also the staff, the entire community really does choose to be part of the community of UMass Amherst. Oh, thank you so much. Penny, your thoughts?
Yeah, so, we, prior to them going, or as they're approaching college, we're used to being prescriptive. They take this, they take that, and they end up with X. The procedure is different, in college. I mentioned that my son was a major in English and social thought, and he got his master's in education. He minored in education. He always knew he wanted education, but he didn't do the traditional method for education. He had 3 advisors. He outlined the interest that he had. They worked with him. All 3 advisors worked, together with him. He had opportunities with the Upward Bound program. So I didn't see him during the summer. He was working with the Upward Bound, which is, they are on campus, high school students from Springfield, giving them the taste of the college life. He was the mentor and the teacher. So he was getting real world experience right then and there. And then he went right into the master's program, and the thought was he would be an English teacher. He's now actually a math and a special ed public school teacher. And it's all, the advisors all working together, and that he's still in contact with. All right. So to your point, all these opportunities, and the fact that it was staff who said to him, hey, you're really good at this, but I just observed you in this. Maybe you should consider that. So it's big, but it's small. The advantage of it being big is that there's all these other opportunities to experiment in and of itself. And it continues. He's still in connection with them. His resources still in connection. As he continues to develop, his core competencies, as a public school teacher.
No, and that is an amazing program that is not only beneficial to our students, but to our community. And in Western Massachusetts, we have some communities that really have significant need, and being able to bring in talented, trained individuals into these school districts is it's so important, and really makes a difference.
I will add for you that it's very intense, but one of the benefits to it, on an individual basis, is that when they graduate for that program, they're starting at a higher level. So whereas it could take you 5 years to get to that level, you're starting at a higher level, and you also got a full year of having a mentor with you in the classroom, which is very, beneficial to get that experience with the mentor, as opposed to only 5 weeks. So it's intense, though. It's intense, but that's the opportunity that the university provided on an ongoing basis.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. Kathleen, your thoughts? Oh, you're muted again.
I will say that we went in without any preconceptions, not knowing how we hope he's happy. We hope he's meeting friends. We hope life is great. And sometimes it takes a little longer for some than it does others. But he ended up connecting with his peer mentor his first year, which was fantastic. At his wrap, he ended up connecting with the seminar leader, one of the doctors in the bio lab he worked in. He was given many opportunities to work in labs. He's worked in 3 different labs while he was at UMass, and had an opportunity for an internship. Worked every summer. We never saw him during the summer. He would stay on campus and work all summer in one of the 2 different labs. The experiences, the opportunities were just amazing. The friends he made were just amazing. He was a secretary in the Engineering Honors Society. There's so much. There's so much good. There's so many opportunities. What everyone else said, millions of times over.
There's consensus. Consensus is a good thing.
And the food is great. Yay!
I know, right? Oh my goodness. Wayne, please add to the conversation.
No. I mean, I just, talking about a lot of us as parents, are worried about, coming out of college and being prepared for the next step. And, you think that the high school to college step is huge, which it is, of course, you're dealing with it right now. But being at that point now, my second child, that's another big step, is what you're going to do afterwards. And I just feel like, UMass just does a really excellent job, and certainly in Eisenberg, and I'm sure the whole school in general, of helping. If you ask for it, you do have to, ask and get that support. It's not necessarily going to come to you, as we've talked about, but they have the tools, they have the staffing, they have the caring to help with that. I mean, my son just got an internship last week through UMass. He got an email at the United States Tennis Association to work there. It's a 3-month sort of fellowship thing and the leadership thing, and he's going to be in Orlando in the summer. Good for him. But it's, and that was really through like an email that UMass sort of just sent out to his sports management kids. I don't even know. And that's the kind of thing that, you may have that at smaller schools. My other son went to a small school, but at UMass, that's the kind of thing that we were hoping, when he got into this program, that they would be able to provide for him. And, thankfully he was able to take advantage of all of that. And so I wish all of you the best of luck with this decision about where to go, but I do think that you will not be disappointed in this experience.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Divya, from the current student perspective, and actually, could you do me a favor when you're thinking about your experience? Are you living on campus this year as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about like the general, but also in terms of where you're living, why you chose, where you chose, and just kind of general, what's it like to live on campus and the different areas?
Of course, yeah. So one thing I always say on tour is that our campus kind of split up into, like you said, different neighborhoods, different residential areas, and there's 5 that students can live in while they're here on campus. And each of them kind of has their own like personality to it almost. So right now, or I guess my freshman year, I lived in Southwest residential area, which is kind of like the city outside the city, I want to say. It's like, even though we're in Western Mass, like it really does feel like a city. And a fun fact I always like to drop is that Southwest is actually the 2nd most densely populated area on the eastern seaboard, second only to Manhattan. So it really does feel like you're in a city while you're in Western Massachusetts. But I lived in a low rise, which is basically just a building that has like 3 or 4 floors compared to the towers or the high rises that we have, which are like 20-ish floors. So I lived in a low rise in the back of Southwest, right next to Berkshire Dining Commons. So Berk is kind of my home. I do think even after everything, it is still my favorite dining hall. It has a little more like homey, like junk food atmosphere to it. And that's definitely the food that I tend to lean towards a little more. But Southwest, like I said, it kind of has like the hustle bustle of city life. And there's always something to do. Like there's always something going on. There's a lot of green space outside. So if you ever just want to like sit outside and do your homework, you can do that. Or you can go play volleyball. There was a volleyball court right behind my freshman dorm. And it's things like that, especially being so close to a dining hall, where I feel like a lot of the times dining halls are kind of like, it's like the place to meet people. It's like kind of a little hub for just making sure you can like get your social interaction in. And I know for me, sometimes when I get so busy, I forget to eat, but turning eating into a social thing kind of allowed me to make sure I was eating 3 meals a day, especially when I have the good food to eat as well. So yeah, that kind of goes for Southwest. There are 2 dining halls there. Hamp is also there. I actually had Hamp for breakfast this morning. And Hamp's a little more of the healthier food. So maybe if I'm feeling like I'm eating too many like chicken fingers and mozzarella sticks, then I'll go to Hamp. But that's kind of where I was freshman year. Now I'm a sophomore. I'm living in the Commonwealth Honors College residential area. It's the newest dorms on campus, super, super nice. I live in like a suite. So my background's blurred because my room is really messy. I haven't done laundry yet. I'll be so honest with you guys. But we have laundry right on our floor, so it's super easy. I have a beautiful view of the rec fields. So I get to see the sunset every night, which is really nice. But I live with 3 other girls. We have a shared suite and a shared like living room, shared bathroom. And once you're an upperclassman, you get to kind of take advantage of that like shared suite style living. And the Honors College is just generally like, it's a very nice atmosphere. There's a lot of like flowers and greenery outside, and a lot of just green space to sit outside and do your homework and just kind of hang out with your friends, play some spike ball, things like that. If you're looking for more of like a more artsy environment, like I feel like whenever I go there, I always hear like someone playing an acoustic guitar or throwing a Frisbee outside. You can go to Central Residential Area, very close to Eisenberg and the School of Humanity and Fine Arts. So if that's something you're interested in, that's definitely an option as well. Up the hill, there's Orchard Hill. Orchard Hill is kind of like more scenic, more like naturey. If you kind of like separating the home, your home life and your school life, Orchard Hill is there for you. I know people who live up there either really, really love it or their legs are hurting every day from walking up the hill. That hill is no joke. I'll be so real with you. There's a milkshake shop up there and I went there last week and my legs are still hurting. But some people really do like the exercise and the buses go up there as well. So you're definitely not stuck there. And then there's also Northeast, which is more closer to the STEM buildings. I know a lot of people who kind of have that like wake up 5 minutes before class and run to class mindset. And for the STEM buildings, Northeast is definitely a good opportunity to do that if you like to get in like every single minute of your sleep. And that's also closest to Worcester Dining Hall, which is the newest one and kind of has the more like modern food. So there's a lot of different areas to live on campus and each of them kind of suit to your own personality. I found that the Honors College is a really nice area for me. Plus there's AC here, which is really nice. But it's a little colder now, so I'm not really using the AC as much, but it's nice for when it gets a little hotter.
I love, yes, the Commonwealth Honors College is the only housing that has air conditioning. I like to say that it doesn't matter most of the year, or a lot of the year, but when it matters a lot. So, no, thank you so much for breaking down all the different areas. Our last question for all the panelists is a piece of advice as families are making this decision. I will ask in the essence of time, but also just because good advice should be short for us to hold on to. So what is your advice to families as they're making this decision? Amy, did you have a thought? What's your piece of advice?
It's really very simple. If your parent, you not going to school, your child is, right? So trust them, let them make a decision. You want a happy kid at the end of the day. They're going to do best and thrive now and in the future if there's some place again where they can be successful. So really trust and listen to your child. Number 2, don't bring all that stuff with you. All those lists they send you. When you get there, you don't need it.
That's awesome. Ektasha, please.
I think my only advice is just enjoy the time and be there and listen. Just be the cheerleader. It's time, or our mentor. And they got this. That's all I can say. And UMass is there to guide them. So
absolutely. No, thank you. Penny, please, your thoughts.
Enjoy the time, listen to them. And UMass Amherst has an excellent website. Just Google it, you'll find the answers as opposed to asking your child. It's there.
It is. Yeah, they're not the greatest at sharing information necessarily.
That's right. And if you ask, they'll get irritated. So just
Right.
look it up.
Just Google it. We're happy to answer that question if you don't find it right away. Kathleen, based on your experience, what do you recommend? Oh, you're muted again. There you are.
Every time I hit it.
It really is. Actually, I want to thank you for being that person. So it wasn't me this time. So
I'm always that person. Anywho, I would say encourage your student to utilize the resources. There are so many resources, things you couldn't even imagine, like classes being larger classes being retaught in the library. Utilize the resources, encourage them to utilize the resources.
yeah.
That's it.
The university really does want them to be successful, and
Yep.
will do all they can to support.
Absolutely.
Wayne, you want to take it home for the parents here on this one?
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Just like every stage of life, goes by quickly, so does this one. So, as my second child is graduating now, and I think you should just take it in and watch your child, make decisions on his or her own, figure out how to live their lives, what direction, what they're interested in, and enjoy and hopefully revel in their success. So that is, and UMass can provide that for you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Divya, no pressure. As a student, what is your words of wisdom?
I think for me, my biggest piece of advice is I think you hear a lot of people and a lot of students say yes to everything as soon as you get on campus. And I think that is a great piece of advice. And especially for people who are a little more introverted, or this is their first time away from home, first time kind of getting to a bigger environment, saying yes is definitely a great option. But I do want to advocate for also saying no to some things. I think sometimes it can get really overwhelming. There's so many options, there's so many opportunities, there's so many things that you can do when you're here that sometimes you just need to take a second to lie in bed for a morning. Sometimes you can't be running around all the time, and you need to make sure you prioritize yourself. And while it's really, really fun to say yes to a lot of things, and you definitely should, make sure you can realize what you should say yes to and what you should say no to.
I agree. I think that's good advice for all of us in life in general. And so we have just time for, I think, one more quick question that has kind of come up in different ways in the Q&A. And Divya, this is for you, really. Can you talk about how you were able to manage the size of UMass, right? I think there's a lot of students out there that feel overwhelmed, and how can they adjust to the size?
I think honestly, the most important thing in terms of actually physical size is, I think, kind of breaking the campus down into smaller sections. You don't need to know where everything is the first day. Maybe just when you get there, take first day to walk around, make sure you know how to get to the buildings that your classes are in. Those are kind of going to be your most important buildings. And usually you'll be taking a class or two that's in the building that kind of corresponds to your major. So for me, I know a lot of my classes are in the moral science centers. So the first week of school, I kind of knew where that building was. I knew where the home base for microbiology was. I knew where the home base for psychology was. So kind of splitting it up into different places. You're always going to know where the library is. So also just kind of orienting things based on where the library is also kind of helps. And then also in terms of just making the school feel smaller in terms of social circles is joining clubs. I think joining clubs and just finding one or two clubs that you're really interested in kind of allows you to get a little bit of a smaller group on campus, because it's really intimidating coming and not really knowing anyone and having so many people to choose from. But a lot of the time, if you join a club and other people are also joining that club, chances are you guys are kind of similar, you have more similar interests, and that's kind of a way to make the big school feel a little smaller.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Divya. And thank you to all of our panelists. I really appreciate your insights and thoughts and sharing your experiences. And this is actually talking about making that big university feel small and connected is a perfect segue to introduce my colleague, Elizabeth Conniff, who's going to talk about orientation and transition, which is so important at UMass. This is not a one-time deal, but I will stop talking and let the expert give you some information on that process.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Rachel. As Rachel said, my name's Elizabeth Conniff. I use she, her pronouns, and like Rachel, I am a very proud UMass alum. I earned my undergraduate degree in 2003 and last year earned a master's in learning media technology. And for the last 15 years, I've been working in new student orientation and transitions. And I'm here today because the university really does see parents, family members, caregivers as partners in student success. And so we wanted to spend just a couple of minutes talking about next steps after students and have decided they're definitely going to be attending UMass Amherst, what comes next. And so with new student orientation and transitions, we coordinate 2 experiences for family members of our new incoming students. And so want to take a minute to talk about our Family Ready for the U and Family Weekend. So Family Ready for the U is the experience that you all can engage in between now and when your student arrives at UMass Amherst. And so we offer a variety of sessions and modalities, and those take place June 14th through July 31st. They're offered on campus in a 2-day and a 1-day format, and they're also offered online in a 1-day format. And starting May 1st, your student will be able to log into our registration site and choose the length and modality of the session that they'd like to attend. And then they're also able, when they're doing that registration process, they are able to indicate up to 2 guests that they would like to invite. And so, as I said, we do see our family members and caregivers as partners in this process. And so would ask that students focus their guests on those adult supporters of their education. We have limited space at Ready for the U, and so this is not the time for siblings and cousins to come see what UMass is all about. Ready for the U is about the transition, and the family program is about how to support your student through that transition. We will be sharing a lot more information about these next steps with students starting April 3rd. They'll start to receive emails from our office about the next steps that they need to take, and registration for Ready for the U will open again on May 1st. And then Family Weekend is the time that everyone in the family is invited to come experience UMass, see what it's all about, spend time on campus, and get to feel a part of the UMass community the way that our family panelists today have expressed. And you might actually even see some of them there at Family Weekend too. And so Family Weekend takes place October 13th through the 15th. Registration will open in June. And that's an opportunity again to come visit your student, experience all campus has to offer: arts, athletics, culture, what it means to be a part of our community. And then I'm excited to share that this is a really exciting time for the campus, and especially as it pertains to supporting family members, parents, and caregivers, because the university recently hired a new associate dean for parent and families, and they'll be starting very soon, and that's going to shape the additional support that the university provides to family members, caregivers, as students progress through their transition and become current students like Divya and Silas, who you all met today. So how do you support someone when they're in their junior year and what have you? And so currently we do have a very dedicated staff who help with that, as well as who write a newsletter that goes out monthly that folks get subscribed to, and that shares important updates so that you can check in with your student and ask informed questions based on what's happening that month in the student experience. And so with the new associate dean, we expect even more exciting things to be happening for our family members. We look forward to being able to share more with you about that. during the Ready for the U period. That associate dean will have a session during Ready for the U to share more about what that's looking like. So stay tuned. We will be in touch with more next steps, and we can't wait to meet you during Ready for the U.
Fantastic. Thank you, Elizabeth. And I can't appreciate more that, yes, let's talk about some next steps here, shall we? So what comes next? First off, not on this list, because we like to add things in, is just to remind you that this upcoming weekend is our final UMass destination days. So this is admitted student events. I encourage you, if you're able to travel to campus, to do so. Please register online to make sure there is spots available for you, but we'd love to welcome you to campus to be able to experience UMass as you are weighing your decision. This is the time of year I like to describe as this is when you fall in love with your college or university, and we certainly hope that university is UMass Amherst. If you have not already, I encourage you to file the FAFSA. Yes, it says due March 1st, but that's okay. Go ahead and submit that application so that we can explore all the different financial options that are available to your student. Once you've made the decision, right? May 1st is that deadline to make your deposit and to say, yes, I am coming to UMass Amherst. After that, all things will follow, including registration opening up for Ready for the U, which everyone should be very excited about participating in. Often we get questions about housing. That application will open up in June. All students, freshman students, are required to live on campus. You'll have that opportunity to submit your preference starting in June. And this is a way also for me to remind you and remind your students, please continue to check your email. That is how we'll communicate with your students about our next steps, opportunities and expectations, deadlines. So it's really important that they continue to check that email. Finally, also, we do require a transcript, right? Students have been accepted, but contingent upon graduating from high school. So it's important that they continue to stay committed to their studies to graduate and receive that transcript. Typically, it is submitted by the high schools. It's an automated process, but it is important for students to just double check in their portal that it has arrived so that we can make sure that all of those boxes are checked as they begin the next steps for enrollment. I know that we probably weren't able to answer all the questions that came up in the Q&A, or other questions are also going to come up as you move through this entire process. Sorry, it likes to move forward a little bit there on me. So please stay connected with us, right? Not only can you follow us on social media, but you can absolutely email us to ask any questions that come up. And please feel free to ask the questions twice. I think that's especially true with financial aid, who are able to schedule individual appointments as well to answer your questions. We at UMass Amherst really want you to have all the information you and your students need to make a decision and feel confident about their choices. I just want to thank you again for spending your Sunday afternoon on this beautiful spring day here with us. Again, congratulations on your acceptance to UMass Amherst, and go UMass.